Okay, in this video, I'm going to start working you through the creation of this assembly. This is the bike rack assembly that I did for the example of the your assembly drawing. So to go through this, I'm going to start working with the first part here, which is this back plate. And I'll draw, these PDFs are available in the assignment if you wanted to see them, but I'm going to go ahead and draw, working from my PDFs here, a little bit larger. But first thing I need you to do is go ahead and start working with this back plate. So I'll bounce back and forth here between one shape and my multi-view drawing here. So first I need to set up my first extrusion, which is going to be 10.5 by 4. So back here in on shape, I'll grab my sketch tool and I'll grab a plane, just grab that front plane, take a look at that, and then I'm just going to go ahead and grab a rectangle and just sketch out a quick rectangle. All right, no big deal here. And the other thing before I continue, let's make sure units, I'm working in inches. Yep, I'm in inches. I know I was bouncing around with another assembly working in metric earlier, so I want to make sure that I'm in the right units. So given that, that's all good. So now next thing I want to do is I want to set this up so everything functions off of a center point and it stays symmetrical. So as I go ahead, I'm going to put this first dimension on here, and that was going to be what was it going to be, 10.5. All right, so it's 10.5. Now what I want to do is I want to grab a line, and this time I want this to become a construction line. So I grab this button here, it says construction, find the center mark at the top here, which is a square, to the bottom here, and then I want to set this thing up, and I will grab this coincident button where this is going to then set the center mark to the center point in my drawing. Okay, so that sets this up so that it is okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab another line, make sure it's a construction line, and then go from one side to the other. Again, grab the coincident constraint, grab that construction line, zoom in and wait for that center point to highlight and then click on that. That then sets this up. So now I'm all set up here and centered. So what I can also do is start setting up some symmetrical information here, because I want some things to stay symmetrical. I want this side to be symmetrical with this side using that center point. So if I move one side, the other side's going to move with it based on center. Okay, so that's good. I'm ready now to go ahead and extrude. Have that set up, grab my extrude button, grab the part, hold down my right mouse and turn it a little bit, and then go ahead and set this up at 0.75. Now, one of the things I didn't do was never set the height. So I'm going to go back into this sketch and show you how easy this is to do. Go back to front, and now I'm going to come back and set the height up. So 3.8, that needed to be 4. Set that up, and that jumps. And did you see how that moved? It moved up on both sides. That keeps everything set up on center. So that goes back through. That is updated. Now my part's ready to continue. Okay, now I'm ready to get set up my rabbit. So I'll grab my sketch, put it on the face, and what I want to do is just go ahead and sketch in a quick rectangle over here on this side. And with that put in place, what I want to do is then dimension out this rabbit distance. So that's your 0.75 there. And then I want the same thing to occur over here. And then I want them to end up being symmetrical with each other. So if I move one, the other one's going to move for me also. So we'll go ahead and dimension that. There we go. All right, so 0.75, 0.75, I'll grab my line tool. Again, I'm going to make a construction line on this particular sketch. So I have that. And now I want to use the symmetrical tool so that this line stays symmetrical with this line. All right. Now I need to remove that dimension to get rid of those issues. So what will happen is if I move this, the other side moves with it. Okay. Now I couldn't keep this dimension here because what will happen is it over constrains the sketch. So now if I change it back to 0.75, they both move. So they're going to function together. So if I end up having to make an adjustment in my assembly later, both sides adjust accordingly. Okay, so now I'm ready to extrude, finish the sketch, grab my extrude tool, grab these two pieces, and now what I need to do is remove. So I want to tell it to remove. It's already swapped into the opposite direction. And the depth that I'm going to go down is 0.375. Hit enter, and you can see it's created that nice rabbit. So I'm going to hit the green check. That's finished up and done. Now I'm ready to spin this thing around, and I can go ahead and start adding in my countersink holes. Okay, to go ahead and start setting up countersink, so I'll grab my sketch, place the sketch on the face, and then grab my line tool, and I'm going to just go ahead and again sketch a quick line in here. No real big worry about where it's going to end up. Again, grab my dimension tool and then position this 0.375 so it ends up in the center there. Now I got to go ahead and you can use the point tool. I just like to use the circle tool, and then I use the center of the circle there. The middle one I'm actually going to anchor so it is on the center of that line. And then the bottom I'm just kind of sketching for whatever reason, place I want to put it. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab the center, grab the top, pull this out, and I'm going to go ahead and drop a dimension in here. Okay, and that dimension is going to just 0.75, and then we'll do this again from here. All right, so now I'm ready to go ahead and start setting up the holes. Okay, so we finish up the sketch, and now we're ready to go ahead and start working on the holes. So what we'll do is we'll grab the hole tool, and I'm going to come over here, and first got to make sure that the type of hole I'm working with, I have the option to do simple hole, countable, or countersink. I want to make sure I have the countersink set up. And then as I come down through here, I'm going to start setting up the information. So the diameter that I'm going to work with, I'm just going to highlight that. And I'm going to jump out here to the, this is the Bolt Depot's website where I can see the pilot hole sizes for wood. This is where I'm going to then come over here to look at this screw size as a number 6 screw. And we're using hardwood. We're going to end up calling out birch for the material. So the straight bit is going to be a 7/64. So with the 7/64 bit, we're going to jump back into one shape here and then actually type this in. I'd already done this once before, but I'll do it again. 7/64, and then click into the next cell, and it accepts that quantity. Now, the next thing is I'm going to talk about the countersink head size. So over here, there's your countersink size. So if I come down and look at that number 6, come across, and we're looking here at that 5/16. So we'll jump back here into Onshape, and again, I'll type this in again. Just type in 5/16, click in the next cell, and it takes that information. So now I'm ready to go ahead, and then I can select the particular holes that I want to have a countersink in by grabbing the center point. And then you can see, if I zoom in here a little bit, that I do have a countersink hole that is prepared for those drywall screws. So I'll hit that green check, and now I'm ready to go ahead and set up a mirror. So I'll go through and hit the mirror tool, come over here right away, and instead of mirroring a part, I have to mirror the feature. So I go ahead and select that mirror feature tool, and then I should be able to come and select those holes. Now it wants to know a mirror plane, so I go, give me a mirror plane, I want to use the right side, and now they show up on the left. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward, pretty fast and easy. Last thing I'm going to do here is put the mounting holes into the front of the plate here. All right, so I'm going to grab a sketch, put it on the face, grab the front view, and then grab a line just to position this centered down through the middle of the part. And again, I'm going to grab my circle tool just because I've gotten used to doing this with circles, just using the center point. I don't know if it's just easier for me to find that center point or not, but it's just the way I do it. Can always use the point tool as well. Nothing wrong with doing it that way either. So we go and position those, finish the sketch, grab the hole tool. All this information's been saved, so I can just go ahead and click on those 2 points, and now I have 2 mounting holes for this. So now this front, the back plate here is all finished up.